Bob just hit $10,000 saved. You'd think he'd feel proud, safe, ahead. Instead, he feels a new kind of stress. Because now it's not, can I save? It's, what if I mess this up? Do I keep it in cash and feel like it's doing nothing? Do I invest and risk watching it drop? Do I pay off debt and lose the safety net I worked so hard to build? Here's what nobody tells you. $10,000 is the first number that can change your life without changing your income, but only if you do one specific thing the moment you hit it. In the next 15 minutes, I'll show you what I'd do with $10,000 saved, why it reduces burnout instead of creating it, and the mistake that makes people hit 10K and still feel broke. It's a Sunday night. Bob's trying to relax, but his brain is running background checks on his life. He opens his banking app, not from panic, just to confirm he's okay, and he sees it. $10,214. For a second, wait, I actually did it. Then the second feeling hits. Okay, now what? No one talks about the emotional whiplash of saving real money. On the way to 10K, every deposit feels like progress. Once it's there, the money stops feeling like a win and starts feeling like a responsibility. And that responsibility can push you in two directions. Some people get super protective and anxious, like they're guarding a fragile glass bowl. Others feel this urge to finally use it because they've been holding their breath for so long. Both reactions make sense. Both can destroy the point of having the money. And the point isn't to have 10K. The point is to use 10K to change your baseline, your stress, your options, your ability to live like a person without burning out. Later, I'll ask you to calculate one number that decides whether $10,000 feels like freedom or just a slightly bigger pile to worry about. That number is your runway. Most people treat $10,000 like an investing milestone. Like the second you hit it, you're supposed to do something impressive. But $10,000 is mainly a stability milestone. It's the first time a lot of people have enough money to stop making desperate decisions. Wealth isn't just built by earning and investing. It's built by avoiding forced mistakes, the ones you make when life hits you and you don't have time, cash, or energy to respond calmly. You take a bad loan because the car has to be fixed today. You stay in a draining job because you can't afford a gap. You sell investments at the worst time because rent doesn't care what the market is doing. So if you have 10K saved, the first question isn't, how do I get the highest return? It's, how do I use this money to buy better timing? Because timing is what keeps the middle class stuck. And that runway number I mentioned, that's what decides whether 10K feels like freedom or not. Runway is how many months of your basic life this money can cover if something changes. We'll calculate it in a minute. But first, the mistake that wipes out the benefit of 10K almost immediately. The mistake is treating $10,000 like one kind of money, one pile, one account, one mental bucket. When it's all one pile, your brain can't relax. It keeps asking, what if I need it? That fear shows up in two opposite-looking moves. Either you never invest any of it because investing feels like risking your safety, or you invest too much too fast because you want to make the money do something and prove it was worth saving. Both are anxiety moves. There's also a weird side effect most people never expect. Sometimes after you save $10,000, you feel poorer. Not because you are, but because you're finally aware of what could take it away. You start noticing every possible expense, every layoff story, every emergency someone posts about. Your brain goes, oh, we have something to lose now. If you've hit 10K and don't feel relief, you're not ungrateful. You're in the part where your identity is updating. You're becoming someone who has savings. That only becomes peaceful when you give the money roles. Money without roles becomes temptation or anxiety. Money with roles becomes a system. And systems are what build long-term wealth without sacrificing your actual life. So once you have $10,000 saved, here's what I do. Split it into 3 jobs, not for complexity, for calm.
Job 1, shock absorption. This is the part that makes emergencies boring. Not fun, not painless, just not life-altering. This is where runway comes in. Take your essential monthly costs: housing, utilities, groceries, insurance, minimum debt payments, transportation to work, non-negotiables. How many months does your shock absorption money cover? If essentials are $2,500 a month, $10,000 is 4 months. If essentials are $4,000, it's 2.5. If you've got kids, childcare, high fixed bills, it might be less. That doesn't mean you failed. It just means you read the number in the context of your life. 2 months of runway feels different from 4. 4 feels different from 6. Not because you're rich, because you're less fragile. Job 2, opportunity. This is where 10K starts changing your life, even if your income doesn't move. Opportunity money is what lets you make a better decision without waiting for your next paycheck's permission. A security deposit so you can move somewhere cheaper. A certification that bumps your income without adding a second job. Taking time to find a better role instead of grabbing the first one out of fear. Basic maintenance you've been avoiding, car, medical, a dying laptop that's quietly costing you more. Opportunity money reduces the friction that forces you into exhaustion spending later. Job 3, compounding. This is the part everyone wants to jump to first. Compounding money is money you give permission to ignore. It's not there to save this month. It's there for future you, growing quietly while you live your life. And it only works emotionally if shock absorption is handled. If you invest money your life might need soon, every market dip feels personal. Investing turns into stress. Stress turns into burnout. Burnout turns into quitting. So the order matters. Stability, opportunity, then compounding. Now let's plug in Bob's numbers so you can see how this plays out in real life. Bob takes home about $4,200 a month. His essentials are roughly $3,100. If you put the whole 10K into emergency, that's just over 3 months of runway. That's powerful. But it still left him with this feeling: I'm safe, but I'm stuck. Because a pure emergency fund is defensive. It protects you. It doesn't move you. So he split it. He kept enough for a solid runway in a high-yield savings account, liquid and boring. He carved out a smaller slice as opportunity money. This was huge for his mindset because it gave him explicit permission to invest in himself without feeling like he was raiding savings. Then he started compounding with a small amount, not to get rich next year, but to turn his savings into a system that grows while he sleeps. And once his money had rolls, something important happened. He stopped staring at it. He stopped checking accounts like he was checking a pulse, because he wasn't asking, what is this money supposed to do anymore? He'd already decided. And that decision, not the raw number, is what reduces anxiety. Quick realism check. If you have high interest debt like credit cards, this changes the math. 20% interest while stacking cash can trap you. That doesn't mean drain your savings to zero and attack debt. Extremes are where people burn out. The turning point isn't save everything or pay everything. It's building a structure where you can do both without feeling fragile.
Here's how I'd handle $10,000 in a way that doesn't hijack your life. First, decide what level of runway makes you breathe easier, not what a blog says. For some, it's 1 month. For others, 3. For people with unstable income or heavy responsibilities, maybe 6. If you're not sure, use this tell. How often do you check your bank app? If it's constantly, you probably don't feel buffered. Second, physically separate the money by job. If emergency, opportunity, and compounding all sit in the same account as your spending, they'll slowly become available. You'll borrow. You'll mean to pay it back. Then life happens. Separation creates a pause. Pauses are where good decisions live. Third, deal with any high-interest debt in a way that lowers your monthly stress, not as a moral issue, as a nervous system issue. High-interest debt is a monthly anxiety machine. If you can use part of the opportunity slice to knock that down, you're not just saving interest, you're buying margin. Margin is what prevents burnout, because margin means you're not always catching up. For compounding, keep it boring and automatic. The goal is not to become a part-time trader, It's to build long-term wealth while keeping your attention for your health, relationships, and actual life. If you have workplace retirement accounts, that's often a clean place to automate. If you don't, you can still set up simple, automated long-term investing. The system should run even when you're tired. Motivation is unreliable. Systems are calmer. Now, about income streams and passive income. Once people hit $10,000, they often think, okay, now I start something big. You can, but remember this line if you want wealth without wrecking your well-being. Your next income stream should not cost you your sleep. The middle class doesn't get free by working 80-hour weeks for 3 years and hoping they survive it. You get free by raising your earning power in ways that compound, negotiating pay, moving to better-paying roles, stacking skills that make you more valuable, building side projects that fit your life instead of replacing it. Passive income is real, but most of what's sold as passive is just delayed stress. The healthiest passive is automated investing and owning your time back by lowering your baseline expenses. And lifestyle optimization matters, but not in the wake up at 4 a.m. sense, in the quiet way. How expensive is your housing relative to your income? How many monthly payments are you carrying? How much of your month is pre-sold before you even live it? $10,000 gives you a chance to redesign those pressure points without panic. Imagine it's 2 years from now. Same you, not some grind all-day version. You still go out, you still buy things you enjoy, you still have a real life. But one thing is different. When something goes wrong, you don't collapse into financial triage. You don't start bargaining with your future. You handle it, and you make choices from a calmer place. You can leave a job that's draining you because you have runway. You can say no to a bad deal because you're not desperate. You can invest consistently because you're not secretly terrified you'll need to pull it out next month. That's what $10,000 is supposed to unlock. Not a new lifestyle, a new pace. So if you just hit $10,000, here's the move that changes everything. Don't ask, what's the best thing to do with $10,000? Ask, what jobs do I need this $10,000 to do so I can stop living in financial fight or flight? And if you want one tiny action tonight, do this. Write down your monthly essentials and calculate your runway. Then write one sentence that assigns roles to your money. This much is for shock absorption. This much is for opportunity. This much is for compounding. No perfection, no spreadsheet, just a decision. Because once your $10,000 has a purpose, it stops being a number you're afraid of losing and starts being the first tool that gives you your life back.